Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 79 of Spill the RT. My name is Eamon Shanahan, and I'm here with Josh. Hi, Josh.
79!
79, feeling fine.
I still can't believe it.
I know, you're almost there. You're almost
I
there.
know. I'm
Almost there.
almost, but not quite. That just
Almost
means I'll
there,
get hit
almost
by a
there.
bus.
Oh, please
It just
stop.
means I'm going to get hit by a bus.
Let's not put that out
And
there.
then, folks, but now you got to tune in next
If I
week to
got wood,
see.
I
Now we
have.
have a certain plot twist that could come true. So now people have to come back to see, well, did he get hit by a bus or not? See, I have now created a reason. That's a call to action, right?
Okay. Well, let's hope that he does not. I am not putting that out there into the universe, but you can if you so please. But I've touched wood; it's not happening. So, okay,
I'm just
that's
saying
good.
there are plenty of people that would be happy to have that happen to me, and I probably deserve it. So it's all good.
Oh God! Well, I mean, it's 79 episodes on, Josh, and I haven't wished it upon you yet. So I feel like if I
That's
can,
true.
I'm a very tolerant person, though. So I
If there's
suppose
one person that's had to see my face more than anybody else,
I have. I can quite safely say I probably have seen your face more than a lot of people have in the last 2
yeah,
years.
seriously. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, more than my ex, even more than my children, because hour after hour of just me.
Just Josh, just your voice, your dulcet tones going through my beautiful
That's
mind,
you're
right
the
into
only
my
one who says
ears.
that. You're the only one who says that about me.
Anywho, let's not open up to criticisms, but if you do want to, leave a comment below.
It's our usual. Subscribe, like, share, but leave a comment below.
Oh, look, I've got the buzzer. Might as well use it. Go on, you said it now. You might as well finish it.
There you go. Like,
Share,
share,
subscribe.
subscribe. Buy some swag.
Buy
Send
some
it to your
swag.
friends.
All of that jazz.
All right, we ready? Want to do this?
We are. What's happening this week?
This week, ancient table games. Can humans survive on a single food forever? Creative hangovers are real, apparently. Huffing at Delphi, and the menu for going to the moon. All that and a brand new guest are up next as we spill the art tea. Welcome to episode 79.
79. How fantastic.
I'm
Excellent.
impressed. I'm impressed.
Great.
Even if nobody else is, I'm impressed.
Look, if anything, it shows us that we're committed. You know, we're committed. Maybe not in a mental state, but definitely committed to the cause.
See, that's what I was going to say. Committed can mean a lot of different things, and you can be both committed and need to be committed. So, in fact, the one probably let's move on. Let's bring on our guest. Come
Our
on,
guest,
come on down.
our brand new guest, all the way from New York. It is Alexandra Beller. How are you, darling? Welcome to the
I'm
show.
great. Thank you so much.
Welcome to the
Welcome. Have you brought the energy?
I'm not sure, given your intro. I've got no death wishes. I'm not sure I'm meeting the moment, but we'll see.
Excellent.
Give it time.
At least you're bringing the positivity. That's the good thing.
It's early. It's early in the episode. We shall see.
It is. Well, Alexandra, we have loads to speak with you about later on in the show when we talk about your work and how fabulous you are. But Josh and I have a ton of stories to share with you and the rest of our viewers and listeners. So let's get things started, shall we?
Sure do. I guess off we go to the past. Alexandra, let me ask you this. Do you like board games? Do you like to play board games?
My partner is a real board game fanatic, and he tries to draw me into them. And as long as he takes full responsibility for like holding the entire rule landscape, and he acts as my like rule chatbot, I can get into them.
Yeah, I'm you.
Yes.
I'm you, Alexandra. In my situationship too, it's the same. It's like all of the rules explained towards me as anything going in. No, nothing.
No.
Nothing.
And I like the shorter ones, like Azul and things like that.
Perfect.
That have, like parts and pieces and a little bit of tactile something.
Eamon's partner is a lawyer who really likes details. So
he does.
He's going to keep track of all that stuff because Amo is not going to at all. But let me ask you both this. How long do you think we've been playing board games? Like, I know we think about it as like part of the
sometimes
game,
they go on forever. Like they could be 3-4 hours, you know?
No, but I'm saying how many years back in time do you think? Not a game that lasted for years, but like how long do you think humans have actually been playing games?
I feel like I'm going to get this really wrong, but I'm going to say 100 years.
Only 100? I would say like 1,000.
More like 10,000 years. So
Wow.
we've got
Well,
some
what are we
pictures
counting
here.
as a board game?
No, these are because the thing is, like, the upper class versions of any of these games were made from like fancy pearls and things like gold and metals and stuff. So they've managed to survive time. And some of these things are literally 10,000 years old in terms of how long people have been playing the games. Yeah. So these are games you can see, like, that's a very fancy lapis lazuli casing where you have the pieces, and like the actual pieces, for those of us that grew up with board games, we all know the little pieces themselves are cool. Like the little piece for playing Sorry is different than, it was the same kind of thing, like the little tiny bits and things, they're all made by hand, it's 10,000 years of
I really,
games.
I really wish I labeled what these particular games were because they all look stunning. But my recollection is not. But I did find this image within that article actually that I thought was quite cool of them playing games, and it looks like it's something that was painted in one of the caves. So,
So that blue box, that one is called Senet, Senet, and it's been
okay,
played since at least 3100 BC. So we're talking more than 5,000 years. And that's a fully developed game system, right? So that means that's how we know for sure that 5,000 is the minimum and 10,000 is more likely how long it's been around, because games take time to evolve,
of
right? And you
course.
don't end up with something that fancy at the 5,000 year ago mark and suddenly, hey, we invented it. No. They've been playing that a while.
I was just
And
about to say.
obviously, like, go ahead.
No, just to say, fancy is really a good word. It's like it's so beautifully designed. Like a lot of the board games now that are designed, the graphics are usually really, really stunning. But the actual materials in this are just gorgeous.
Yeah. Well, again, because this is upper class stuff, right? And so, like, the one that you see above that, that's more the kind of thing where anyone, like, you're at a tavern or something, you scratch some lines on the ground or on the table, and someone pulls out the pieces, and you play the exact same game, but it's like more like playing cards with people rather than a fancy where someone has a whole table and special chips and all kinds of nonsense that people really invest in. And more power to you, but that's what that kind of. And so this is a game that's the same thing. This is one that was played by the Greeks and the Egyptians.
I thought this was really cool too. This does look this. And speaking of Yazul, that kind of does look like the kind of Yazul kind of like setup. And below here you see are some chess pieces, so that they're kind of old style
Yes.
chess pieces.
So that one is called the Royal Game of Ur. Ur is one of the oldest civilizations that we know about. That one is from about 4,500 to 5,000 years ago as well. And so again, like, these are expensive. This is not a recent thing in the sense of the game just showed up, right? So hence my question, how long do you think we've been playing games? A long
time. Well, these guys here in these little chess pieces, they don't look like they're having a good time at all. Look at them. They all look depressed. It's just like, oh no, I'm not going to win this game ever.
But if you look at that, that's more like from the Middle Ages kind of thing. So people were pretty sad, and that's why we don't know. Anyone want to go back to the Middle Ages? I don't think so.
They didn't know any better, Josh. They didn't know any better. What do you think?
Right. So
what do you think, Alexandra?
Well, they're going to say that about us in,
Yes.
5,000 years too. This is the Dark Ages, if the planet makes it that long.
Well, that's the funny thing, right? So many people play games on their phones. There won't be a record of that in the same kind of way. There has been the explosion of the analog side of things. Like, your partner is like always bringing new games home and shit, right? But I mean, the digital side of it really is what has absolutely exploded, and there will not be a record.
Although, truthfully, both of us are neurodivergent brains, and like, we end up playing the same games on Board Game Arena, which is a digital platform for board games. And even though we have the boxes of games and pieces, it's just like too heavy a lift to like go downstairs and pick them up and pull them out and not be in bed. And so we often are playing even Azul, which has such a beautiful tactile and like oral, experience. But even that we tend to play digitally, embarrassingly. But, it's also just, that's what it is.
It is. Well, look, you get to spend quality time together. So I suppose
that is our strong suit.
So, boof. That's
boof. And off that goes. Off the table.
Off that goes. Here's my next question to you both. Do you think there's a single food that humans could eat and have that sustain them completely?
Ignore the spoiler alert on the side of the screen.
Halo always wants me to find a good science story, so I think
I love a good science story, but I love even better, Josh, is a good potato story. You know, because
So
we
the
love a good
short and long
potato in
answer
Ireland.
is it can't be done. It can't be done. You can eat white potatoes and sweet potatoes in combination, but you have to eat something like 27 pounds of potatoes a day in order to get a full. And then because they're potatoes, 27 pounds of that kind of starch in your body, it's not going to do good things to you. So
No.
the short and long of this is no, it can't be done.
No, well, I would say though, while it is a challenge, it's not impossible because look at all of the various ways in which you can have the glorious potato. So I feel like, potentially it could still be quite an interesting excursion. You could have it in chip format, in hash brown format, in croquette,
It's at
mashed
least a
potato.
nice week of your life,
It's a nice week of your life.
Yeah.
34 sweet potatoes a day or
No.
84 white potatoes.
No, 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 no.
That's a
I
lot of
veto.
starch.
I love a potato, but like in the singular.
Exactly.
You wouldn't have done very well in the famine in Ireland now, so you wouldn't.
Sorry. Well, I will acknowledge my family came from Ukraine and we were like definitely in the pogroms. So like we had our own kind of potato beat years of experience in my ancestry too.
But still, nonetheless, the
I mean,
potato, while we all think of it as the perfect way of, everybody has a need for carbs at some point, right? You're
yes.
drinking, you need carbs. It's rainy, you need carbs. We all need carbs. I think all of us think of the potatoes as a source of that, but still, sadly, 100 potatoes a day in order to keep going.
No. I struggle with probably two. All that being said, I do love a bit of mashed potatoes or a good roasty, though. Extra
Yeah.
crispy from the oven, all of that fat around it. Oh, love, love, love. Although, is it like you can have only just the one potato, but have nothing around it? Like it has to be like just boiled.
Oh, you're making this worse and worse.
I am, yeah,
See,
I am.
now you got me thinking about like what is the one perfect way to do the potato.
Oh, those are fighting words.
They
I
are because,
know it's
like, if you
hard.
do have mashed potato, for example, does that mean I'm allowed to add butter or not?
I
Well,
mean, you don't have mashed potatoes without butter and cream and salt. Like that's
I,
just not
I
a
know, but
thing.
if it's only one ingredient that we're allowed to have,
No,
one food.
no. We're
no,
not
it's
calling that a mashed potato though.
only
That's
one
sacrilege.
only one preparation. So I was thinking like I like to do mashed potatoes and then treat them like a roasty so that they're still soft in the center, but then they're all roasted
Oh,
on the outside. And it
as
takes a lot of effort,
hungry.
but it's a
As hungry. And then, like, how would you have it as your cereal then? This is completely sidetracked. But anyway, what would you have for
as
your
your cereal.
breakfast? For your breakfast, what are you
Oh,
how are you gonna have the potato for your breakfast?
well, I mean, I'm an American. I think we all know what we do there, like home fries or hash browns or something like
Hash
that. It's the
browns.
same kind
Yeah, I
of
suppose
principle,
hash
right?
browns.
Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
soft on the inside, crispy on the outside.
Yeah.
Right,
See, I think we're
Alexandra,
all
wouldn't
just
you
going to
say?
die of
Yeah.
heart. We're just going to die of heart disease.
Yeah, contrast. I need contrast. I've got texture issues. If everything's just the same texture, I get a little
Yeah,
skeevy.
yeah.
It's a
Let's
little
spill the
boring
tea
for
on
sure.
that. Let's put a lid on that potato.
Okay, so here's another question for you all. Right, we
Okay.
are all creatives here. We're all
Yes.
creatives here. You just finished a project, whatever it
Yeah.
is. When you wake up the next day, do you feel like you suffer from a hangover?
100%. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of things. There's like a kind of dopamine, thing that happens. I think there is a biochemical thing. Similar to, I mean, for sure, like the day after a performance closes, it's not just a hangover, it's like some full-blown depression. And I think there's some kind of Venn diagram between like a lack of purpose, the pausing of your momentum, and
Mm.
this biochemical letdown after so much like adrenaline and dopamine and serotonin and probably oxytocin from connecting with people around your work, if that was part of it. But 100%, I know every artist feels some kind of depression or artistic hangover. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
You agree, Eamon?
I agree. I sometimes, well, how I find it is there's kind of like, if you were, when I'm really, really busy and I want to make a whole load of work, I'll make a whole load of work while I'm really, really busy. When I've got nothing to do, which is quite rare, and I try to become creative then, and you kind of fall into this trap of not being able to. So it's the opposite of a hangover. It's like what is it, a drought or something? You know, it's the kind of the flip side of it. I feel worse
Yeah,
there than when I would
yeah.
feel after creating something.
And
What I
because I
can't
think we get out of any kind of flow or momentum, and being out of flow just feels like being out of contact with ourself.
Yeah,
for those that are listening, Eamon has a picture of a cat on the screen for some reason, and I'm trying to figure out why.
because this is
Because that's how you feel the morning
this is
after,
how
and
you
you
feel the
finish and you
morning
got no
after. So it's kind of like
yeah.
I was channeling your love for cats, Josh, and I was like, this is how Josh feels, how he relates after he's
That's
had
how
a
a cat
crazy amount.
looks. That's just how a cat looks at all times. It's just kind of,
This cat is pride. This cat is like
oh, I see.
it's like it's been plugged into an electrical like unit and has been completely electrified.
So what set this off is they did a study and they looked
Right.
at people who are professional creatives or people who are, if they're hobbyists, they do it for at least 20 hours a week, whether
Mm.
they're a writer, a musician, painter, whatever, right? So there's like the separation of the pros and the semi-pros from people that do it with less intensity and with obviously much less time and energy invested into it. It's just truly a hobby for the other group. So it turns out the professionals, almost everyone has that drop off, but their sense of satisfaction, despite the drop off, is considerably more. The other people don't have the drop off, but also don't have as much satisfaction in what they do.
Mm.
Right. And so to me, it's just kind of the confirmation that there's nothing for free. Something has a cost. And
Yeah.
as makers, we know that most of that cost is what's being channeled through us. And so then it's the residual effect on us having been that conduit more than anything else.
Mm.
I'm
And
curious what the metric is on satisfaction, because that's such a broad
Mm.
term.
so
Like, what does satisfaction mean in this context?
satisfaction with their creative work and satisfaction with their life in general in parallel to the creative work that's being done. And so the creatives had more of a dip, like more of an actual sine curve, but they reported considerably higher happiness rates, if you will, despite that. So it's like a necessary part of the creative loop is to have that moment when stuff just is like empty and evacuated from you.
Oh.
Thanks for
Okay.
the image.
Yeah.
And I think also part of every creative I've ever known is that somewhere inside the process, they hit a wall and say, I have no idea what I'm doing right now, and
Yeah.
this is going to be really bad. Like, this might be the worst thing I ever made. And I know very few artists who don't hit that moment in every process at some point. And for me, I hit it at almost the same like mark inside a process every time.
Interesting. I find that really
So
interesting that that's something that you have like identified that particular point of the process.
Yes, my partner lovingly teases me because I'll be on a residency making a dance at a university or, a commission somewhere. And I'll call him up and go, oh, it's really, really bad. This one's going to be really bad. And I'm really stressed out. And he's like, uh-huh. No, but
Right on
this
time.
time, this is it. This is the time. Like, there's always a possibility that this is the time. And he's like, uh-huh. But it's always worked out so far, right? Every time you've ever created anything, by the end, you're like, oh, I do know what it is. Oh, maybe it was maybe kind of a little brilliant or something. And I'm like, yeah, but this is the one. This is the one. And he's like, okay, yeah, we'll see.
Mhm.
So to get to your question, they use what's called the PERMA framework, which tracks positive emotions, engagement, relationships, meaning, and accomplishment. So it actually
Oh,
has multiple metrics that are being studied here. And what you're saying is what they literally found, that you're under pressure, you do the work, you perform, then it kind of leaves you at the end, but you're left with a sense of satisfaction because of the overall process, the arc of what you did in the first place.
I'm
Right.
just kind of wondering about like, it feels like a slightly unfair comparison because people who identify as artists are taking a lot more sense of identity out of their creativity and their process and their outcome than somebody that might, identify as a hobbyist. So, if I create something and it succeeds, it's not only like, well, that can change my money, it can change my opportunity, it can change my research or my sensibility or my place in the field. That's like a lot of positive outcome that
Yeah.
somebody who's a hobbyist is not going to receive.
Yeah, but I think the flip side of that too is the goal of a hobbyist isn't necessarily to monetize or to, in some sense, expand their reach in the same kind of way. And so the fact that they don't see satisfaction to the same degree, right? Like they're not struggling as much, but they're also not as happy with the results either. And to me, it's just this basic idea: you get what you pay for in life, not necessarily financially, right? Not necessarily monetarily, but like there's nothing that doesn't have a cost associated with it in some kind of way. And at least now it's confirmed. Like it's not in your head. It is in your head, but it's not all in your head.
Interesting.
You
Yeah.
know?
There's
But
yeah,
with that
boof.
said, here's one that is all in your head. So I'm sure we've heard about the Oracle of Delphi, right? Priestesses that would sit there and supposedly inhale gases, and people would come from around the world, the known world, to have their fortunes told and those kinds of things. So they're like, well, was this real or not? And they figured out it actually was real, and the actual gas was ethylene gas, the same gas that you use to like ripen fruit and shit. So we're talking about tectonic areas where you have cracks in the surface of the earth and gases leak. And what makes Delphi interesting is apparently it was custom built, like they carved it in a way to keep the gases in the spot.
Oh.
And so that's why. And so this was like real. Talk about some weird shit. So such an honor, but you would absorb ethylene, and you have too much of it, it can actually kill you. So a great honor to be poisoned where you might die. This is one of those ones where I'm like, you first.
So what's the effect of ethylene on the brain?
So ethylene, if you take it in smaller doses, will cause things like hallucinations, spasms, like all the things that are reported for what would happen from these priestesses. And so they went and they did an analysis of the soil, because obviously the gases aren't around anymore. This is thousands of years ago. It's no longer an active ethylene producer, but the soil absorbed the gas. And so when they did a spectrographic analysis, they were able to find very clearly there's ethylene here. And then knowing what the results of ethylene poisoning essentially is, that's how they came to this conclusion.
Interesting. So they were all just tripping.
Not the intercession of the gods. Sorry to break it to you. I'm sorry, all you monotheists or whatever, multi-theists. This was just pure science. I know that thing we hate. Science like magic, but real.
Science like magic. I just wondered who was paying for the gas bill, because that costs a fortune.
I
Gas
think
is
I think you're back to God now.
Yeah.
Well, no, there's evidence that they would move. That's why, like, where this stuff happened changed over time, because the level of gas being released would go down over time, right? It's no different than like if you find a place where there's a buildup of petroleum and you tap it. At the beginning, you're getting a huge font of oil, right? But over time, it depletes. And so with various kinds of natural gases, whether we're talking about liquefied natural gas, ethylene, like any of the various things that can rise from the Earth's crust, it doesn't like stick around unless you create, say, a deliberately carved area where the gas can't escape.
So the goddesses were like, sorry, I'm not feeling nothing today. It's just not happening. There's nothing coming through.
This is the kind of thing where, as always with religion, from my perspective, it's best to watch from afar, because you don't want to be personally involved.
Well,
your mileage may vary.
Your mileage may vary. Full disclosure here.
So there's
dear.
that. I just thought that was kind of interesting that they finally figured out what the oracle was, and it was not the intercession of the gods.
No, there's the intercession of the gas line.
Just organic chemistry. Who knew?
Oh, you knew. Now we know.
But speaking of organic chemistry, what do you think they're going to take? Because we're going back to the moon. Although according to Eddie said to me, so this is the fourth week in a row. The shout out to Eddie, my bartender,
Eddie the barkeep.
My local. Eddie said to me, "We're going to the moon, dude, for the first time." And I was like, okay. You realize we did this 60 years ago. It's like, no, dude, that didn't happen. That was in a soundstage.
Oh, no, Eddie.
But we're going. And
educate yourself, man.
I love him. I love him to death. To each their own beliefs. I'm not here to judge. But nonetheless, we are going, in parentheses, back to the moon.
Okay.
And so the question is, what do you think they're going to eat? Like, if you have to go to the moon, it's going to be a 10-day trip. What do you bring with you in terms of food?
What are you eating? What are you eating, Alexandra? What's on your
Potatoes. I mean,
rider?
obviously
On the
potatoes,
potatoes.
white potatoes. Like, what are we? Is this a question? I thought we solved this already.
Don't
No,
think you can bring
no.
potatoes. There's like tortillas was top on the list, wasn't it, or something like
Yeah,
outrageously non-flaky?
tortillas, wheat flatbread, which I assume means like unleavened bread of some kind.
No,
So
thank
that
you.
I mean, I don't know.
Mm-mm.
Weetabix, I don't know.
Mm-mm.
Breakfast sausage. Apparently. So just to be
I
clear, the
suppose, yeah.
astronauts they vetted this. They decided with all the different products that were offered to them, this is what we want to take with us. So they're taking tortillas, the flatbread, breakfast sausage, barbecued beef brisket.
So what I'm hearing is they are trying to constipate themselves so that they don't have to deal with elimination in space.
Excellent.
They have a solution for that though. How many hot sauces do you think they're bringing with them?
And to what level?
5 different hot sauces. 5
Madness.
So I
Absolute
think the
madness.
constipation. I mean, I'm with you that the constipation thing might be a good thing, but I think they've solved that. But the way they're solving it might not be the solution they're looking for. I don't.
Come here. There are 47 cups of coffee as well. Is not going to.
This seems like about the worst setup for zero gravity I can imagine.
Yeah, it's just going everywhere. It's just going everywhere.
And what do you think they're bringing for desserts? Like, what would be your favorite dessert that you would take to outer space?
A tiramisu. I do love a good tiramisu, but I do feel like that might be challenging.
For space, I'm just going to go with like a good old solid little chocolate covered caramel, dark chocolate covered caramel.
Oh, that's good. That's
So
a good idea. That's intact.
They're bringing cookies, pudding, cobbler, candy coated almonds, cake, and chocolate.
But half of those are very flaky, so they'll just be flying around the place.
I don't know what to tell you. I just report out what's happening here.
Okay.
They're bringing more than 40 cups of coffee, more than 55 tortillas.
It's starting to sound like we've never been to the moon before.
I know, right?
I don't know how this works.
Josh, are you hungry? Are you hungry, Josh? Are they feeding you over there in Napa? You seem to have food in the mind.
When we were on a sound stage the first time, this was not an issue. But apparently now that we're actually going to the moon,
I feel like I feel like they need to have better things on their plate.
It gets better. Culinary flavorings, things that they're also bringing to make stuff taste better. Maple syrup, chocolate spread, peanut butter, hot sauce, obviously, spicy mustard, strawberry jam, honey, cinnamon, almond butter. This sounds more like you're going on like a 7-day tour of Alaska than going to the moon to me. Like,
oh dear.
I mean, it sounds like you're stocking your Airbnb. This is not a 10-day trip. Like, how many condiments do you need for 10 days?
I know. Just give me the Nutella and I'll be fine.
Off just white potatoes.
189 menu items. 189. Yeah.
Wow,
that's good.
That's a much more varied diet than mine.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no freeze dried ice cream, which for those of us who are Americans, we used to go to the Kennedy Center. The one thing you could buy, that you stand online for hours, you look at the capsules and all this shit. The one thing you could buy in the gift shop was freeze dried ice cream. That was the only
you're
thing
talking
available.
to Generation X. Yeah. I'm not sure the millennials know about freeze dried ice cream, but we do.
Yeah, but they're not. Apparently, it's passé now, and
no. It's over. I have no idea what you're talking about. I do understand good ice cream. Good. Okay.
No, this was a chocolate, vanilla, strawberry trio.
That a little brick.
Was like the size of a bar.
Yeah. Did you put flakes between us?
No, it came like
it was like a brick, and then you just kind of like gnawed it off, and it sort of dissolved in your mouth a little. Don't use that face. It was really special.
Okay. You're really selling it. I feel like the award for the winning pitch deck goes to Alexandra.
It was like a unique textural becoming, because you'd like take this thing that was just kind of almost a like styrofoam kind of texture, but then in your mouth it would start to dissolve and become like this creamy, sweet thing. It was amazing.
What's this
It's
audio
true.
description ASMR? That's like freaking the shit out of me.
It was the 80s. That's all I can say. It was
And
the
because
80s.
we all believed and knew for a fact that we had been to the moon and this was like astronaut food, it seemed very romantic and exciting.
Okay. It's good enough for space. It's good enough for me. Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
before reality TV, people like astronauts were our, heroes and rock
It's true.
stars.
It's true.
And, what they ate was of interest to us. And it seemed very like amazing and romantic.
The
And
worthy
also
influencer.
Yeah.
their faces were put on the damn cereal boxes.
Yeah.
So like we were told we had no choice. These are your heroes because
Yeah.
that's what was in the store and that was at the stable.
I mean,
and
they
that
made it
was,
to space, so I think they were entitled to the hero title.
Did they really?
Yes, they really did.
According to Eddie, no.
Is Eddie our metric right now?
Eddie is currently our key sponsor, it seems.
I use him as a key metric for my prep, but that's a whole other thing.
Eddie the barkeep. Again, yet another call out to Eddie. We love him. Poor Eddie.
Boof.
More
So,
free
Alexandra,
pints for Josh.
let's talk about you.
Yes. Alexandra, tell us about you. What's going on? What's happening?
I'm in the middle of two publications for books. So
Two.
I spent 10 years writing a book about the creative process and
Okay.
trying to help artists to map themselves and become the kind of artist they want to be. And that's called The Anatomy of Choice and is launching with Bloomsbury in a few months. And then I have another book about music conducting and embodiment that I co-wrote with a conductor. And that I'm actually in like a fairly scandalous publication debacle that I probably am not allowed to talk about.
Ooh.
But we had a publisher.
Oh, the
and
tea's
then
being spilled.
they were not being, they gave us some untenable contract negotiations. So we decided to leave them. And now
Okay.
we have like this fully completed manuscript that we're shopping and we have some interest. So that's probably all I'm allowed to say. But
That's
I'm
enough.
hoping that has a deal soon.
Yeah.
We'll
I've
read
had
between the
something
lines.
I've had something similar happen before, and it sucks when a deal collapses like that. But if you have a completed deliverable, it's not as end
It's
of
not
the
the
world
worst.
kind
Yeah,
of thing.
Yeah, I have been kind of stunned by the response because the last thing I proposed to people was my book, The Anatomy of Art, and I had to reach out to like 8 publishers to
Yeah.
get a yes. And this one we sent to 4, and already 3 of them are like, yes, send the manuscript, let's talk about it. So
Yeah.
that
Nice. Good
was
for you.
startling.
No, it should feel
Excellent.
good, right? It should
Yeah,
feel like
yeah.
you're on a path where even if something gets in your way, it's like, nah, I'll keep going.
Yeah, and I just like I don't know. I get a little bit of a witchy sense sometimes about like whether this is a problem or not a problem. And even when it was in its like most dire moment, I was like, yeah, this is not going to be a problem. Not a long-term problem. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah. It was something that needed to maybe be put in front of the
Yeah.
situation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. And so what brought you I'm interested to like what brought you to that phase, to that point where you were writing a book about the creative process?
Well, I have been an artist for a very long time. I would say in some ways my whole life, and then a professional artist for 30 years. And in my practice, I started doing a lot of coaching of other artists. But it's important to me to not try to lead anybody to create the art that I make or that I even want to see or that I even like.
Yeah.
I want them to create the art that they're trying to make, but there are a lot of things that get in our way as artists, habits and our lineage and expectations of culture and society. And so it's a lot of noise, not to mention inner critic and the way we sabotage ourselves. So I just started to have a lot of relationships with artists who were like really earnestly trying to make what they wanted to make and hitting these obstacles. And so I was doing a lot of artistic mentorship and choreographic coaching, and I was noticing that I was mostly just asking them questions. So in trying not to over direct them, I wasn't giving advice and I wasn't sharing opinions even most of the time unless they were really clear about needing an opinion. And I noticed how poignant these questions seemed to be in the room, and that I would be in a room of 8 or 10 creators, and I would ask, somebody would have just done a showing of their work, and I would ask them a question, and I would feel the whole room kind of change, like people's posture would change and their breath would change and their eyes would change. And I would say, wow, those questions can really do a lot. So I thought, well, let me just write them down. I'll write a book of questions. And so originally I thought this was going to be a book of 1,000 questions for artists, and, all, dramaturged out so you could find your question. But it just started to feel like I was hiding behind the questions, like I wasn't being vulnerable about putting myself on the line and my ideas on the line, and making a statement which is going to alienate some people and confuse some people and make some people not like me. And so I thought, well, I've just got to write about what I actually think and feel, and that will self-select my audience, and that's okay. I believe in that. I'm not trying to be liked. I'm trying to be real and, stand behind what I believe. So it just started to balloon out, and, I wrote a series of essays, and then I wanted to boil it down to tips for, just different kinds of brains and learning styles. Some people need quick hits and just want to be able to open the book up for a tip. And then embodiment exercises and creative exercises and a score and writing prompt. It just kind of ballooned out. And it became this like pretty like intense book about what it means to be an artist. And it's like part workbook and part, I hope, like mentor.
But I think what I'm getting from you as well is that by putting your own vulnerability into the book, it probably showcases to the artists who they are in themselves quite vulnerable individuals, that I have put myself through this test, or that I've done the rigor myself, and I've been able to attach myself to these questions and be vulnerable with them in my own practice. And I think that really gives other people more confidence in saying, okay, actually, if she can do it, I can try. Whether it's going to be a success or not, that's a different question. But at least if you're going to be willing to put yourself out on the table, then I'm going to be willing to at least try and follow that too, to see what I get from it, which I think is
Yeah.
very cool. Yeah,
And
it's
I've
really good.
also been really trying to walk the walk of the book in writing the book and in
Mm,
editing it. And so like the way that I talk to my own inner critic, and the
mm.
way that I separate instinct and inspiration and kind of divergent thinking from analysis and logic and editing, and try to keep them in separate moments. Um, I've been really trying hard, and like the way I'm engaging with community and soliciting feedback, I've been trying to imagine, like, if I had just read this book, how would I go into this creative process of writing this book? So a little bit of a meta
Meta.
loop.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, but that's the best kind of proof of concept, because you're
Mm,
right. People want guidance, but as the guider, you don't want to be a controller, and so
yeah.
it becomes very difficult to have that light touch. It's
Yeah.
also why I've been a teacher for more than 30 years, and when you do it right,
Yeah.
it's all them and not you, and that's
Yeah.
the whole
You are a
point, right?
facilitator.
Yeah,
Not a,
Yeah,
yeah,
my
yeah.
my son, when he was one of my sons, when he was about 3, went through this phase where I would, in that sort of Socratic way that you do with toddlers, like, well, what is this, and what do you think that is, and right, and I would ask him questions, and he would always go, maybe you know. And I have countless videos of me going, and what's that? Maybe you know. But I always use that
Love
as
it.
an example with my students, where they're like, well, what about this? And what is this? And I go, maybe you know. And I tell them the story of my 3-year-old.
yeah.
Oh,
You
the
tell
the
me,
curious,
I'm not telling you.
yeah, the curious mind of the toddler. It's like, but why?
Hmm.
But why?
But that is the essence of the creative mind, if you let it, right?
Absolutely.
I mean,
Mm,
that's the biggest thing that gets me. I think it's not about when you see yourself as a professional, it's not about a certain level of acknowledgement. It's just a certain amount of like self confidence that what you do
hmm
is what you want to do, And
Yeah.
as you say, it's not about whether people like it or not. I'm not making it for that reason. I have to make it. It's not a choice. It's not an option. It's going to get done, right?
Yeah.
Whatever happens next ain't my problem. But so many people get into that mental loop in their own head, and they handicap themselves. They kneecap themselves in different kinds of ways, and they become their own worst enemies. They make it impossible for themselves to do their best work.
And I actually think that part of what's at stake, or part of that like architecture that you just named, is that rather than self-confidence, I think that it is useful to have confidence in art itself and in your particular form, and maybe in your lineage or your practice if you have one. But I often feel like what I rely on as an artist is not me. Like, I may not be having a good day. I may be going into the room feeling less than. But art always finds me, and it always finds itself if I leave it enough space and I'm attentive enough and I just stay present and aware and perceptive and ready to see something. It always reveals itself. So if I go in with confidence in art and in my medium, that feels like something I can maintain, whereas confidence in myself ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
Interesting. I guess for me, I just like to make, and so I don't really like. It's because we're touching universal flow, right? It's to me, it's not just that like art finds me. It's like I'm literally opening myself up to this energy. It's there, and as long as that's there, as long as I know I can do that, it's not about good or bad. It's not. Tomorrow's coming either way.
Yeah.
I think that's the same thing. I think art finds you because you are tapping into this thing that is just true, and it exists whether or not you're tapping it. And so this confidence that like that flow is always there to tap into. My job is just, and the tapping for me is awareness and attention.
That's really interesting.
I think it's self-doubt. Like I'm thinking about what the core is, it why people kind of derail themselves, and it just seems to be a
That
certain
limiting
kind of
belief.
self-doubt.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting because I think that, like, I mean, I feel like we could have a whole podcast around this. But it's what I really want to do, because I'm conscious of time, but what I really want to do is I want to talk about your own practice as well, because I have a couple of images of some of the artworks that you have. I just really quickly just wanted to look at some of these images because they are stunning. I think this is your choreographed pieces that you have created yourself. Is it, Alexandra?
Yeah, these are all, I think, from dance theater works that I made with my company. Yeah.
So I just wanted to kind of share some of these images with people, because you're not just writing about it, you're doing the work, you're making it happen, and you're being creative all at the same time. So you're not just talking the talk, but you have a huge catalogue of work, and we want to know, where can we learn more about you, and how can we find out more about your practice?
Well, my website's really just an excellent hub, and there's a lot of free classes and resources and links to book websites and all that stuff. So really
Amazing.
just my website, alexandrabellerdances.org.
Cool. And we'll put that link into the description. And we look forward to seeing your new book when it comes out and to reading that. Very excited to read that. Books, your books,
Yeah.
your multiple books.
Second one requires a little bit of finger crossing.
We have all the fingers crossed, the fingers
you.
and the toes are crossed for that. But I'm really excited to read the new book. What's it called again?
The Anatomy of Art.
The Anatomy of Art, which will be out when? Do you have a date?
Well, it was supposed to be this June and it got pushed a little bit. So I'm hoping August.
August, great. Well, we will keep our eyes peeled to the release date of that, and you will give us a little nudge as to when that's come out again, just so that we can reshare that with everybody. But Alexandra, you've been a wonderful guest, and we've had a great time speaking with you and spilling some tea today. So thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. No problem. Josh, you need to tell everybody who's listening what it is that they have to do, because we need to give them a sharp reminder before we reach number 80.
Isn't that called a shakabula? Short shock to the soul.
A shakabula.
I think that's called a shakabula.
A shakabula. I need a good shakabula right now.
Like, share, subscribe, send to 3 friends, buy some swag.
Get that up there. Exactly. And
be a guest. Send a guest.
Yeah, send it. Did you have fun, Alexandra? Did you like spilling tea with us?
Absolutely.
Excellent, excellent. Nothing like putting a guest on the spot while we're still live.
Have you asked this question before and gotten a no?
I always just say we're mostly harmless.
We're mostly harmless, mostly harmless. Unfortunately, that's all we have time for today. Do check out our latest issue of Anecdotes, available now on www.newacollective.com. And also do share and follow and all of that jazz on our social channels. I can't speak anymore because I am all spoken out. Until next week, bye for now.